Welcome back to the big show. It's Alex Belfield in Las Vegas. Always nice to meet a top chef, and Scott Conant is one of them. How are you?
It's great to be here. Thank you very much.
Hey, listen, we're here at the Cosmopolitan, which has to be one of the coolest hotels around at the moment. It nearly didn't happen, and then Deutsche Bank came in and saved it, and then people like you got the most incredible restaurants with wonderful views. That's not a given in Vegas, is it?
It is not a given, and you know, it's so great to be able to look out these windows and see the Bellagio fountains going off, and it's such a great part of the dining experience for people as well. So we're very fortunate.
It must be frustrating for Bellagio because they give more entertainment to people who aren't in their casinos than anyone else, really, don't they? Because it's so spectacular with the big lake that does the dancing fountains every half hour or so.
You know, it's a good problem for us, obviously. If they're going to give it away, we'll take it. How about that?
What's it like for you then? You've got your own restaurant. This is a chain that's done very well. Your brand is well known across America. But then to find a venue that can give two kind of double values, one the food and the view, which is unique, must be a great thrill.
It is. You know, in the Cosmopolitan in general is such a great place. There's so much attention that's been bestowed upon it over the past 6 months or so, and definitely since Deutsche Bank has taken over the project. But, you know, they've really been able to deliver on all fronts. So it's just exciting to be part of such good energy.
And I suppose it's a bit like a Broadway play. If you're part of its creation, it's always going to be more heart, there's always going to be more excitement.
Absolutely. You know, it's not like we're coming in day two. I mean, we were here from the inception. We were one of the first contracts signed to get this food, this neighborhood done, so to speak. So it's really special, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a great place to come to all the time. Except I drink a little too much when I'm in Vegas.
I was going to say, this is part of the town, though, isn't it? Let's tell the story of the Cosmopolitan, because it was built and then it nearly didn't happen. Then it stopped, and then they got the money back again. Did you come in after all that nonsense had been sorted out, or were there moments when you wondered whether your restaurant would even happen?
Well, you know, it's very funny because I was in a very different situation down the street with the Fontainebleau. I have a restaurant in Miami Beach at the Fontainebleau, Scarpetta there as well. And as they were going to do the Fontainebleau here in Las Vegas, it was being built, and it was about 85% done, and we were in the process of getting the kitchens installed and really starting to move this whole thing forward. And then suddenly the money dried up there, like so many projects in Vegas and across the country. It just went belly up, and it didn't happen. So I was talking to a bunch of different operators, and when I finally met for different casinos here in town, and when I finally met John Unwin, the CEO of the Cosmopolitan, I said, it's just perfect. If I knew that if I didn't do business with him, I would be kicking myself later. So it was a great opportunity. Thankfully, it presented itself, and here we are.
But let's face it, everybody else is closing down, everybody else is going bust, and you're investing in new restaurants. You're brave, aren't you? Because some would say it's a silly move. I mean, you've got a brand that was successful, you were earning money. To put money into something that could fail is risky.
You know, the good thing is that I think that we're hitting the market for exactly what it needs right now, which is this approachability, but also there's still hints of luxury that we're never sacrificing on, and that's the intention and goal from the get-go. So fortunately, nothing speaks like success, right? Things are going very well. People seem to like it, and we're able to open up new properties in different locations, so it's great.
What's the most important thing if I were to open a restaurant? Is it my name? Is it the chef? Is it the surroundings? Is it the view? Or is it the food?
I always say it's three major components that have to come together: the food, the ambiance, and of course the service. The mood of the room, that ambiance is really super important. And I think people have had bad food, but good service always makes up for it. So I think there's something to be said about, you know, being familiar but not overly familiar, about being attentive but not, you know, obsessive. You know, it's really important to find the balance with service, and I think that's the thing that gets people coming back repeatedly.
I'm a great cook, I'm really good, but not good enough to open my own restaurant. How did you know that you'd got that X factor giving you something better that you could one day have a successful chain of restaurants?
I don't think you ever know. I've been smart enough through the years to hire people better than me at whatever the specific task is. So I have a great director of operations, I have great chefs in every location, I have great managers and great servers, and really trying to create, the intention is to create a culture of goodness, and it's really something that we speak about all the time.
And not everything will always go right. How do you get out of those messes where people come in and just don't like it because they don't want to like it?
Yeah, you know, that has a lot to do. Sometimes things don't have anything to do with me or the restaurants, for that matter. It has to do with the individual. And it's really, you know, it's a difficult task, because when you throw your hands up and say, well, that has nothing to do with me, you're automatically letting the customer win. There's a big part of turning people around. So really going that extra mile to make everybody happy is one of the things that challenge it impresses me when the staff can do it. And secondly, it's really the challenge that we have to live up to all the time. Moving it forward, making people happy, it's what we do.
I suppose being you right now is quite cool. Being a chef seems to be a sexy occupation, but I'm always amazed at the hours you put in. It doesn't come easy, does it?
I don't know if it's a sexy occupation. There's no glamour in what we do, although from the outside looking in, I think people think there is. It's a lot of work. I work 7 days a week. I'm away from my family a lot. I have a 15-month-old daughter, and it's tough to be away, but it's something that I love, and I always have to pursue this, or else I know that I would just be miserable without it.
I noticed after the meal they took me to the kitchen, and there's a beautiful chef's table, which is great because that gives people the opportunity to see what you guys do. It always amazes me how it looks like a ballet. Everybody seems to know where they should be standing and what they should be doing, and I noticed there was no screaming in your kitchen, unlike people like Gordon Ramsay who tend to do that for a living.
No screaming in the kitchen. Very rarely do I have to raise my voice, and if I do, it's really to motivate. It's not to humiliate. I get no pleasure out of making people feel bad about themselves.
Oh, I do. I love doing that.
Really? You should
half my phone-ins.
You should see a therapist about that. No, I have such a good time, and I want the staff to have a good time as well. But if everybody needs to play their part, everybody needs, as I always say, you have to play your position. If this is what you do, just do it very well. Simple as that.
Let's talk about the food then. The meal I had was delicious. Thank you for helping me out, because you guys always give me way too bigger portions, and I say, please just give me a taste, because I don't want to throw stuff away, and they did that last night, so thank you. The scallop I started with, which was just delicious, enormous as well, which made me nervous, because sometimes when they're big, they can be chewy. That wasn't.
Well, I hope not. No, we like to cook them, medium rare, medium, so it really allows the flavors to develop inside the scallop and just warm its way through, but it's still a great flavor combination. That's the intention.
Everybody talks about your spaghetti. I'm not going to talk about that, because everybody else does, but I had the ravioli with the duck and foie gras, which was just sensational. How difficult is that to get right?
It's one of those things that there's 3 or 4 different components to make that filling, and if they're off balance, it doesn't work. But I spend a long time training these guys and getting them in different restaurants and developing these recipes, and this is a recipe that I've done for years now, so it works. I mean, I never want to stand in the way of progress, but when things work, I just let it go.
Absolutely. And are you a big believer that you're only as good as the people you've worked with in the past as a chef? You can only learn from the best?
Not necessarily. I mean, I've never had that name chef that I've worked for, and I'll tell you why. It was really by. I wanted it to be that way, and I didn't want to be a disciple of a great chef. I wanted to be able to create a cuisine that was my own, and I've done a lot of research over the years, and I've worked with some good people, but never those name people. And I've drawn off of different experiences that I've had eating around the world. So the rest I just pretty much make up as I go along.
Is this a good town for food?
This is the town for food. I was standing outside in front of the Bellagio fountains the other day for the photo shoot with all the chefs. And I looked up behind me, and here we have Guy Savoy and Pierre Garnier and Joe Robuchon and some of the Thomas Keller. I mean, these chefs are the best chefs in the world, and all of them have restaurants here. I mean, there's really something to be said about that.
Do you ask yourself sometimes, why am I stood next to them in a photo?
I said that. I did. I said to the guy next to me, Jose Andres, I'm like, I don't know why I'm standing here, because this is kind of bizarre, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, and it's the greatest compliment, isn't it, that you're accepted into that community?
None of them knew who I was, so it was fun.
But they don't speak English, so don't take it personally.
Yeah, they just said, get me another glass of champagne. I said, okay, here you go.
John Robuchon offered to do an interview with me, but I don't speak French, so that isn't going to work, is it?
No, it's not going to work. Good. To hell with them then.
Hey, listen, really great to talk to you, and a tremendous restaurant. If nothing else, I know this sounds insulting, but in this town, if you've been here, you'll know what it means. Just the view alone is exceptional, and to have this backdrop, this theatrical backdrop, is incredible. It might all be facade, but my God, it's beautiful. And the food was tremendous, and the service was wonderful as well. Scarpetta's the place to come. So the Cosmopolitan, the brand new casino. And Scott, thanks for talking to me.
Great having you. Thank you very much.